The house on Maple Lane in suburban Charlotte, North Carolina, looked exactly like every other house on the street when Emily and Daniel moved in during the spring of 2017. Beige siding, black shutters, two-car garage, small front porch with a single hanging fern that would die every summer. They were 28 and 29, respectively. Everyone said they were lucky. Here is the house that first evening, when the realtor handed over the keys and the sun was setting behind the row of identical roofs. Emily still remembers standing in the empty living room, smelling fresh paint and possibility, thinking, this is where we'll build something real. Daniel had been charming once. In college he played club soccer, knew how to fix anything with a screwdriver, and laughed easily at her jokes. By the time they bought the house he had settled into middle management at a logistics company, steady pay, predictable hours, a 401k that grew quietly. He still smiled, but the smiles had become automatic, like the way he said love you before hanging up the phone. The first year was fine. They painted the guest room sage green, planted hydrangeas, hosted Labor Day barbecues where neighbors complimented Daniel's brisket. Emily worked part-time as a medical billing specialist from the spare bedroom. She liked the quiet routine. She told herself this was adulthood. The trouble didn't arrive loudly. It crept in the way dampness seeps into dry walls, slow, invisible, inevitable. It started with small things. Daniel stopped asking about her day. When she talked about a difficult claim denial at work, he would nod once, eyes on his phone. That sucks, he'd say, and change the subject to fantasy football or the new truck he wanted. Eventually she stopped telling him. He began coming home later. Not dramatically late, just 7:15 instead of 6 o'clock, then 7:45. He said traffic was bad on I-77. He said the team was slammed. He smelled faintly of bar soap and fried food, the scent of Applebee's takeout he ate in the car. Emily gained 12 pounds that second year. She noticed it in the mirror one morning while brushing her teeth, the softness under her chin, the way her thighs touched when she sat. She bought bigger jeans and told herself it was normal. Everyone gains weight in their 30s. Here is Emily alone in the kitchen one night around year 3, coffee gone cold, staring at nothing. They tried for a baby for 18 months. Nothing happened. The fertility doctor was kind but clinical. Daniel went to 2 appointments, then said work was too busy. Emily went alone after that, driving 40 minutes each way, crying in the parking lot afterward. Eventually she stopped going. Daniel never asked why. Sex became mechanical, then rare, then something they both pretended not to notice. Emily bought new lingerie once, hopeful. He complimented the color and fell asleep watching SportsCenter. The arguments were never explosive. They were quiet, precise, surgical. "You're never here," she said one October evening in year 5. "I'm here right now," he answered, not looking up from his laptop. "You're physically here. That's not the same." He sighed the long, martyred sigh that had become his signature sound. "What do you want me to do? Quit my job. We have a mortgage. We have bills." She wanted him to say he missed her. She wanted him to touch her without it leading straight to the bedroom. She wanted him to remember her favorite coffee order without her having to remind him every time. She got none of those things. Here is one of those quiet, tense evenings in the living room, the air thick with everything unsaid. By year 6 Emily had stopped hoping for change. She developed a private life inside her head. She read novels in the bathtub until the water went cold. She started running before work, not for fitness, but because the pounding of her sneakers on the pavement drowned out the silence at home. She made friends with the other early morning runners, women in their 30s and 40s who also showed up in the dark with headlamps and reflective vests. They talked about marriages the way soldiers talk about wars, carefully, with dark humor, never too loud. One of them, Sarah, asked the question Emily had been avoiding. "Do you still love him?" Emily thought about it while her breath made clouds in the November air. "I used to," she said. "I think I still love who we were supposed to be." Sarah nodded. "That's a different thing." Emily didn't cry that morning. She had run out of tears somewhere around year 4. The turning point came on a Tuesday in late March 2025. Daniel had been gone for 3 days on a team-building retreat in Asheville. He texted once a photo of a mountain view with the caption "Nice view lol. No miss you. No how are you?" When he walked in on Thursday night, he dropped his duffel by the door and said, "God, it's good to be home." Emily was folding laundry on the couch. She looked at the bag. She looked at him. "Did you sleep with her?" she asked. Her voice was calm. Almost curious. Daniel froze. Then he laughed short, nervous. "What, no? Come on, Em." She waited. He rubbed the back of his neck. "It was just flirting. Nothing happened." Emily nodded once. She felt something shift inside her chest, not heartbreak, but a kind of final settling, like the last piece of a puzzle clicking into place. "Okay," she said. He looked relieved. "Okay. Okay." She finished folding the towels, stacked them neatly, and carried them upstairs. The next morning she called in sick to work. She sat at the kitchen table with a yellow legal pad and made 2 columns, stay and go. Stay had 3 items: house equity, familiarity, not starting over at 36. Go had 1 item, written in larger letters, myself. She stared at the page for a long time. Then she added 1 more line under go, peace. Here is Emily. The morning she decided, suitcase open on the bed, sunlight falling across the quilt she had chosen when they were still happy. She didn't take much. Clothes, laptop, books, the good blender she'd bought herself for her 30th birthday. She left the wedding photos on the dresser. She left his favorite mug in the sink. When Daniel came home that evening, the house was quiet. There was a note on the kitchen counter, written on the same yellow legal pad, "Daniel, I'm leaving. Not because of one big thing. Because of 10,000 small things that added up to nothing left. I don't hate you. I just can't keep pretending this is enough. The lawyer will be in touch about the house. We can sell it or you can buy me out. I don't care which. I just want to be free. Take care of yourself. Emily." She didn't wait for a reply. She loaded the suitcase into her Honda Civic, the one she'd bought used before they were married, and drove to Sarah's house 30 minutes away. Sarah had a guest room and no judgment. The first night she slept on an air mattress and cried until 3 a.m. The second night she slept better. The third night she didn't cry at all. Divorce took 14 months. It was expensive, boring, and mostly handled by lawyers. Daniel fought over the furniture at first, then stopped caring. They sold the house. Emily took half the equity and rented a small 1-bedroom apartment in Noda, artsy, walkable, loud enough to feel alive. She started running longer distances. She signed up for a half marathon. She cut her hair to shoulder length and donated the ponytail to Locks of Love. She bought plants and actually watered them. Sometimes she missed him. Not the last version of him, the earlier one, the boy who used to kiss her forehead and say we're gonna be great together. She mourned that boy. She did not mourn the man who had forgotten how to look at her. Here she is now, autumn 2025, 36 years old, walking alone in a suburban park near her apartment. The leaves are turning. She carries a paper cup of coffee. Her face is thoughtful, not unhappy. She still thinks about the house on Maple Lane, sometimes the porch light that stayed on too long, the hydrangeas she planted that probably died without her. She doesn't regret leaving. She only regrets the years she spent trying to water a plant that had stopped growing. Last week she went on a date. A teacher named Michael. He asked questions. He listened. When she talked about the marriage, he didn't try to fix it, he just nodded and said, "That sounds really hard." She liked the way his eyes stayed on her face the whole time. She doesn't know if it will become anything. She's not in a hurry. For the first time in a long time, Emily Harper is not in a hurry. She is simply here, walking through fallen leaves, breathing cool air, feeling the small, steady pulse of her own life. And that, she has finally learned, is enough.